be an addition towards the top of it. There you go.
There we go. Okay, I think we're ready to go. We'll call the meeting to order. We have an agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to that? First of all, can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm good.
Okay, Bill's good. Brian, you're okay?
Yes.
Lindsay, you're okay? All right. All right, so back to the business. Is there addition or correction to the agenda? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
There are no corrections.
No corrections?
Second.
Okay, motion by Sarah, second by Brian. All those in favor say aye. Rich, aye. Bill?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Lindsay?
Aye.
Okay, motion's passed. Regular minutes of Wednesday, the 18th of November. Is there any additions, corrections?
The only thing I saw was, when you get down to Bill Eberhart, citizen at large, it says 2131 instead of 1231. It's not a big deal, but it, I mean, we knew what you meant, but. And I just saw another one. On future land use plans, it says %50.
Okay.
Say that again?
On B, future land use plans,
Yep.
it's just transposed there, 50%.
Yes. So I'll make those, then those changes.
Little things, but
Okay, I will make a motion, we approve the minutes of November 18th with those error changes. Is there a second?
second,
Motion's been made by Meyerhofer, second by Sarah. Some of you will probably abstain, but we'll just go through it. Rich, aye. Bill?
Abstain.
Brian?
Aye.
Sarah?
aye.
Lindsay?
Aye.
Motion's passed. Okay, monthly financial report. Ryan, anything to discuss?
Yes. So on here, you'll see the September disbursements under column J. They're primarily electric, the CETA contract, and then 5520 that I paid for postage that was then reimbursed back to me. We've added row 206, business park land. So that's always been within the budget, but we're showing it now on the budget for these meetings. So that way everybody can see what we have available. So that is the largest change. You also see on the deposits for that, we received $107,000 for the sale of the old Grover lot. That was then included into that.
Any questions for Ryan? If not, do we have a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
I'll second it.
Motion by Bill, second by Sarah. All those in favor say aye. Rich, aye. Bill?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Lindsay?
Aye.
Motion's passed. Public hearing, none. Visitors to the board, none. Old business, link me. Anything updating on that?
Yes. I've gotten in touch with the individual who designed it and manages the website for them. He said that that they built the firm to do the design for this and then to manage it. So everything was done locally and is being done locally. So Link Me Lanesboro, it's a nonprofit organization, and they received a grant to start this. Fees from that fund, fees are paid to the company for the website development and construction, marketing to the of the site to the public. Marketing costs were independent of the website construction costs. The company also constructed the site. It took them about 6 weeks to do, but they imagined that if they were to do it elsewhere, so for example, if they were to do it here, a lot of that infrastructure has already been done, so it shouldn't take as long to do that. The site, they have about 130 local folks signed up as members right now, and that they're gradually growing. Right now, the only ones who are allowed members are those whose residence is by zip code. So those who have a residence in that zip code are allowed as members. That's how they manage to keep membership just to the locality. And then talks are still ongoing as to if he isn't sure yet as how much it would be if you were to do it here. He hasn't. Those talks are still ongoing and still information gathering. But finally found somebody who's now responsive.
Okay. Anything else we need to do on that?
Not at this time.
I guess
Hey,
if I could make a comment on that, Rich.
sure.
I'm looking at the page right now and appreciate all the work Ryan's done on that. I think, I don't know if this is necessarily an EDA project, but I believe that maybe finding some money for this project and then handing it off might be appropriate. I don't know what the rest of the EDA thinks, but if we could find some grant money or something like that to get a page of our own set up, I think that'd be great. I think there's some refinements to the page that could be made. There's stuff for sale on here. We've already got that page on Facebook. I don't know that we need, I think this should be purely if you want to gift something, help around the house, transportation, errand, shopping, and then they have buy, borrow, sell, or give away. And I would, eliminate probably the buy and sell and just borrow and give away. But I think it's a pretty neat site. If you haven't looked at it, I'd encourage you to do that. And if we could decide that we want to pursue some funding, I think that would be appropriate.
Sounds good. Anything else, anyone? Should we just leave this on the agenda and continue to have Ryan follow up and explore possibilities for funding and further investigation in this?
I can also look for area organizations that would like to at least oversee or manage it. For example, if Three Rivers would want to, or if there's another nonprofit that works in community service.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We don't need to make any kind of formal motion on that.
I don't believe so.
No, all right, we'll just continue to investigate and link me. Baldwin Foundation Leadership Program for 2021. Tina's been kind of spearheading this, but doesn't look like we have anything more.
Yes, no actions requested at this time. So by April of next year, we want to identify people that we can send as a cohort. The 2022 communities are chosen at that time.
Okay. All right. Move on to C, the ZMTA collaboration. I brought this up last month and was directed to further investigate it. And I spoke with Michelle Jench, who's the business ed teacher at ZM. And she teaches the marketing class that they have there. And that class is the class that actually right now has set up a program where they sell their food fees. She was really, really excited about this and felt that it was something that would be really a benefit to her class. However, her class is one semester, and I think it's in the fall. And she would need some time to develop a new curriculum, develop a new class, possibly just, restructure what she's teaching now to include something like this. But with the COVID thing and the distant learning, she's very hesitant at this point. Well, can't do anything. So she and I are going to stay in contact, and we're going to try to get back together next spring. Like I said, she's very interested in it. She thinks the kids would be interested in it, but it looks like it's something that if we do it, it's probably going to be at least a year down the road, if then. Because like I said, she'd have to come up with curriculum or some sort of a structure to be able to implement for next fall. And I'm not sure that we got enough timeline to do that, but who knows? I mean, if things open up this spring a little bit, maybe she'll be able to institute something so that we can get started next fall and have this in place and get the students involved. Any questions on that for me?
No, I think it's good.
Okay, I think it's got promise, and we'll see where it goes from there, and I'll keep the board informed as we progress. New business, promotions, the visitor's guide.
Committee met on December 10th, and they proposed that we financially back the Visitors Guide project by $5,000. So what that would entail is the city would, or the EDA would request certain specific pages. For example, a business listing, maps of trails, and then anything left over from that would go to reduce the overall cost of the rest of the booklet for whomever would like to purchase ads out of that booklet. The EDA, we have approximately we have about $9,000 in the EDA's budget for promotions as of this year, and then beginning next year for that fiscal year, well then that'll increase to about $15,000. So we have the money for it, and it would be a regional publication, and it would be a year-long periodical.
And I was on that committee, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but if I think we were looking at about $215 a page, and if we as an EDA contribute $5,000, we could potentially cover the cost of at least half the book, which we're looking at probably about 44 or 46 pages. So like Ryan said, if we can help cover the cost of certain things that are going to benefit everybody, and then use the remaining number of dollars to lower the cost for individual businesses that want to purchase a page or half page or however we set it up, we thought that would be a good use of the $5,000. And like Ryan said, we've got $15,000. It's not going to break us, and it's not something that we're committing ourselves to for ever. We can, if we decide to do this and it's a success, next year, maybe we contribute less, maybe we contribute the same, but it'll be a good way to hopefully get the thing kick-started and off and going so that we can get something for this summer yet. But we're kind of under a time restraint here because if we want this to the publisher by April,
Yes.
we need to get moving and things have to be cracking here by February. So if we can approve this and get it going, we can, obviously, Ryan can take leadership and get together with Pete Grimsrud, and then the ball's kind of in his court, and he's going to have to get moving on it if we want to have this done, because obviously we're not going to do that part of it. That's his responsibility. Any questions on this? Lindsay, you were there. Does that sound about right? Is there anything you want to add?
Nope, I think that sounded good.
Okay, there's no further questions or discussion. Do we have a motion to approve subsidizing or contributing $5,000 towards a promotional booklet? I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Lindsay, second. Any discussion, questions? If not, all those in favor say aye. Rich is an aye. Bill?
Aye.
Brian? Brian, your speaker's off.
Aye.
Okay, Sarah? Aye. Lindsay?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Motion's passed.
Me too.
Tina just,
Sorry, my computer did an update, sorry. I'm here.
computer difficulties.
Tina, we'll add you starting now. Is that okay? Got it. Okay. All right, we were under new business, future land use plans.
Yes. So the city staff, we have a concept plan to purchase and develop approximately 35 acres. Is that still accurate, Brian?
35 to 40 right in there.
35 to 40 acres if the EDA would act as the developer. Ellers right now is researching best funding mechanisms to achieve this. We would potentially require the EDA to possibly bond for the development. Currently, there is a manufacturing business that wants to locate to the city and would bring 30 to potentially up to 60 jobs with the potential to increase to 60 jobs. They're looking for 15 acres of land. And city staff were also building an application to the Greater Minnesota Business Development Public Infrastructure Grant, so BDPI grant, that would cover approximately 50% of infrastructure costs, but it would not cover land acquisition. So we're requesting permission to obtain a land appraisal and to create a subcommittee to oversee this process in more detail. Right now, there's a lot of pressure on city staff from this business to get land, make land available, because they want to start building and by next spring. So to do this, we need a little bit more oversight that's a bit more responsive than one month, like once a month. So if the EDA still would like to do this, we do have some money within the land fund. And if we were to cash out some of the other funds, we would have even more. For example, the Rochester Sales Tax Fund. If we were to liquidate, we could potentially have up to $550,000, give or take. However, if we were to bond for it, one of the options we might be able to do is grant a TIF to this business and use the TIF dollars, the tax increments, to pay off those bond payments, or use what money we have in the land fund to help pay off those bond payments. So we're having Ellers do some research on if that's financially plausible, or if not, or if there's any other options. But before we even commit to something, we want to make sure that whatever land the city does purchase, that we're purchasing it for a fair rate. So I'm requesting or permission to get 3 bids for land appraisers, and then be able to at least go with the lowest bid. right now I've gotten two. One is for approximately $4,000. The other one is for $1,500 to $2,000 for 35 to 40 acres. And then I'm still waiting to hear back on a third. So is there any question, comments, concerns?
Yeah, how much that much land would cost?
Yeah, so we've got numbers from Bill Angerman for assumed land cost. We kind of know where the landowner will probably come in and what he's going to ask. And then development costs. And it's about a $3 million deal with the land and the development out there of the 37 to 40 acres. We're looking at different options of maybe the landowner would keep a part of it and we would develop part of it. That gets pretty messy. And so we called up Ellers and Rebecca's working on that. And just like Ryan said, what we would envision or look for would be a way to make this happen with us buying all the land, with EDA involvement, of course, that would be a critical piece. And then make the bond payments, like Ryan said, with TIF dollars, and then maybe some EDA money over the 8 years, I suppose, or whatever we would bond for. But we think this is a great opportunity for Zumbrota, 30 to 60 jobs, nice big manufacturing facility. Plus we have someone else that would be interested out that way as well right away. And Ryan gets calls for shovel-ready land constantly. And we really don't have a whole lot right now. So I think it's worthwhile, but yet to be seen on the funding. We'll see how creative Ellers can get, and because we really don't want to pass along any more bond payments right now to the taxpayers. So if we can do it in-house, if not, we may revert back to maybe finding a developer who would like to develop that land quickly, and we wouldn't be involved at that point. But this particular area is where we're bringing the looping project, the water looping project, so it makes sense right now to bring that water looping right down where a potential road would be. That's why we've been working on concept plans out there for, well, I think it's for a couple of years now, or a year and a half. So yeah, so and then like Ryan said, the business owner is ready to move like yesterday. He calls twice a week, sends emails. So we're just looking to get numbers back to him, and yeah, we like to have EDA backing and involvement, of course. That's why we'd like to put together the subcommittee. So you guys are involved every step of the way. We certainly don't want to commit any EDA money without you involved.
Isn't this what we designated the Rochester sales tax dollars to go to, is industrial infrastructure?
I believe so. I know I've heard conversations, but I haven't seen any of the minutes for it.
That was for, but.
Well, I think that's initially what we thought we wanted, but we have kind of broadened that a little bit and done a few other little things too. But yeah, I think it's certainly a good use of the money. And if it's there, we might and the need is there. A couple questions that I have. One is, as eager as this business is, I mean, if we move ahead and we purchase the property and we go to the expense of developing it and putting in infrastructure, do we have any kind of guarantee that they're going to follow through on their end? Or are we going to just say, well, we're going to invest in this because we think we need it, whether they come in or not?
No, I would say we would need a commitment from that, and that's going to be a big part of it too, because that particular business is going to have to be involved in this deal, I think, to make it work. As far as he's probably going to have to buy some of the land outright right away to lower our bond cost or the payments to get to be where we can actually make it work with the TIF and some EDA dollars. That's my assumption. But no, I think we would look for the commitment from the big the big business right off the bat before we'd pull the trigger on any of this. But we need to get everything in place up to that point.
And they seem, you think, receptive to working with us and buying, purchasing, and being part of the whole process right away?
So he's got a budget, and some of this will fit within his budget. as far as his, he knows what he needs for his building. We've told him kind of what the infrastructure cost would be. Now that's going to get a little lower if we can land this grant. So there's some unknowns yet, but just the fact that he calls twice a week, because he's looking in other places as well. So I think he's very interested in that in the location we've got potentially for him, just because he calls all the time. It's a great spot for a business like that. It's right on the 10-ton road there, access to 52, pretty easily. This particular business deals a lot with McNeelius, so they can cruise down the highway the other way too. So, so I think it's a great location for them. They don't want to be near any houses because they don't want to deal, with manufacturing. They don't want to deal with complaints from homeowners about noises and things sitting in the yard and stuff like that. So I think it's an ideal spot. So I'm very confident that they're very interested. But no, we would have a deal with them in place. That would be contingent, on doing the whole thing.
Okay, my next question is if we want to move forward on this as quickly as possible, and you're waiting for bids for the, what was it, for the
Land appraisal.
for the land appraisal, is that something we're going to have to approve then? Or, because then, we're a once a month entity here. And if we keep pushing out a month on some of these projects, it's that are time sensitive, to me, it seems like we need to, I don't know how we can figure out, we either need to have a special session or a special meeting or what, you know what I mean?
Yes.
What do you do? What do you think?
On some of these, I guess you could delegate certain purchase requests down to a subcommittee, or if everybody wants to, we could have just allow a special meeting when it comes to a specific purchase.
So we've said we will grant you up to $5,000 for the appraisal and done that ahead of time at council. We've done that before. So I don't know if that's an option, but we can say, just so it's not, $20,000, we can put a limit on it.
If you, when you said the first two bids are how much?
About approximately $4,000 and up to $1,500 to $2,000.
1,500.
Yes. So less than half of the first bid.
And you think that the three companies that are bidding are all reputable? So if the 1,500 is just as good as the 4,000?
Yes, they do. One was recommended to me by by Brian they do a lot, he does a lot of work with the Bankers and Broda.
Yep.
Another one works for, I forget which bank, but he also does a lot of individual work as well for communities and other developers.
Okay, what's the board's thoughts? Any ideas or comments?
Okay, I have a couple questions here. Out of that 35 acres, how much of that will be able to be developed? You'll have some ponds in there. Will they go with the property?
Yes, there's already there's two pieces, there's 8 acres, 4 of which is a pond now that we're looking to reuse. And then another 4 acres that the pit has been filled in over the years. So we're a little unsure about the soils there. So there may be some mitigation with that. So some cost, but that was built into what Bill put together for the one lot. So we're hoping we can use the existing area for a pond. I think there's 5.6 acres of easement for the road. So that brings it down to, about 30 acres developable. Is that about right, Ryan? Something like that. And so, yeah, Bill, that's a good point. That's going to go into it too when Rebecca puts together these numbers. Is a lot of it's going to be, what do we need to sell these other lots for to make it pencil out, and how quickly, because if we can't afford to carry them for a while, that's a big risk too. So there's a lot of unknowns right now, but but we're trying to forge ahead and get some answers, some better answers on that. But, about 30 acres of developable land.
My other comment is, it's more of a comment than a question, is, by doing this, it's a good deal, don't get me wrong. But you got to have buildings put on there that will be able to afford to pay taxes. We're not going to be able to put up cheaper buildings. They're going to have to be decent buildings, like Midwest Fabrication out there is going to pay some pretty good taxes.
Yes. When in discussions with this business owner, I believe he said that his tax burden was approximately just over $100,000 a year. That's what he was told by the county assessor. So that's potentially up to however much the city's fraction of $100,000 when split between the school district and the county as well. But if we do a TIF, then we could collect all of that and devote it towards bond payment for up to 8 years. But yes, there will be over $100,000 in tax commitment for this building and for this business.
It's a good anchor building to get out there and get things moving. And we really feel that once it's out there, it's a great spot. It should move quickly, but who knows with the economy and everything. The other lots would be about 4 acres, a little under 4 acres, I think, for this chunk that we're looking at now. So
my last question is, with this project, we have to be careful that we don't get in so far that 3 or 5 years down the road that somebody comes and they want another 15 acres. We don't have it, and we can't bond for that again, because we're in so deep yet.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. We'll definitely make that part of the consideration. And of course, bonding, there's been a whole lot of bonding around here. So as much as Neil was known for no debt, I'm going to be the debt administrator going forward here for a while. But yeah, this is one of those opportunities that is tough to, would be tough to pass up if we can put together something together. But yes, all those considerations will have to factor in.
Okay, I'm done.
Anything else? Okay.
Rich, can I ask what's the ultimate ask from the EDA?
The one to set initiate or a subcommittee to oversee this more closely, because we don't want to go anywhere that runs counter to the intent of the EDA, especially with all the pressure that we have right now. And second, to however the EDA would like to do this, either grant me up to so many dollars for land appraisal, or to grant that that purchase authority to the subcommittee, or if the EDA would just like to have a special meeting when it comes to that.
Purchase of property or just
Land appraisal.
appraisal? Okay. Okay, everybody understand those two different situations? All right, we'll take them one at a time. Let's deal with the land appraisal dollars. How do you want to go about that? Do we have a motion to approve up to a dollar amount?
Sure, I can. This is Tina. I can make a motion of up to what, $8,000? Bring it coming in about 2,
5.
6.
What you
How about
want?
6?
That's your motion?
Yep, $6,000, up to $6,000. Anything more than that, you'd have to come back.
Okay, we have a motion to approve up to $6,000 to remind the city fathers here to move forward with land appraisal. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Sarah. All those in favor say aye. Rich is an aye. Bill?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Lindsay?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And motion's passed. Second portion is now we need a subcommittee to work with the city people moving forward on this. Do we have volunteers to be on that committee?
Can I ask one more question? Do we want, was it option A or option B? So we have either a subcommittee or we have call a special session, or do you want both?
I think we should have a,
Subcommittee and a special session?
well, I think we should have a subcommittee and then the subcommittee can request a special session at that point if they will want to move in that direction.
Thanks.
Okay, so once again, volunteers,
I would.
Sarah volunteered to be on the committee. Anyone else?
I'll be
How
on
about
it.
you, Rich?
Brian, you said yes?
Yep, I think Rich would be a better candidate, so if we get too many, I would step back, but
So are you? All right, you telling me I have to volunteer?
it sounded like Sarah was already throwing you under the bus, so.
Yeah, Sarah's, all right, so it'll be Sarah and Rich and Brian. Is that an agreeable to everybody?
Sounds great.
You know you love. to
Bill,
hang
you
out
okay
me.
with that?
Yep.
Okay,
You love hanging out with me.
I do. All my life, that's been my dream.
I know.
All right, anything else on that, Brian?
Nothing
Right.
further.
Okay, moving forward. New reports, market value increase.
Yes. So the city received our estimates for the 2021 taxable market values for properties in Zumbrota. For residential properties in the city, the estimated taxable market value has increased approximately 13% on average. Even though there have been 29 new homes built, there's still not enough housing available. So market value is calculated by looking at recent home sales in the area. For Zumbrota in 2020, homes were sold at values that raised the overall market by approximately 13%. So this is a seller's market, and the available supply is so low and demand is so high, resulting in sellers able to demand higher values for their home sales. That's impacting everybody else in the community. Even those who don't want to sell, those who are not looking to sell, those who are not able to sell. And those who are on fixed incomes, whether retirees or otherwise, their values are still being driven up. And therefore then their taxes are then being driven up. Assuming a continued lack of supply and Zumbrota remaining a desirable place to live, home values will continue to increase. Over the long term, this may result in those already living on the margins to continually being squeezed and potentially not being able to afford to live in Zumbrota. However, Goodhue County Housing Study revealed that there's 511 general housing occupancy units that are needed in Zumbrota's market for the next decade. Units across all price points and across all styles and all densities. There's still a considerable amount of single-family home lots in our current developments, especially up in Highlands. And with the introduction of the apartment building, 57 units will be brought in then. It doesn't meet what the study says that we need, but it should put a considerable dent into that. So hopefully after the apartment building is there, it should stabilize more of the market. And even though we want people's values to increase, 13% is pretty drastic for a lot of people. So hopefully we can stabilize that by hopefully this introduction of the apartment building and continued development of single family home lots. But it's just something to keep in the back of your mind as we continue forward with planning and and figuring out the city's needs going forward.
Well, hopefully after they open Canada back up, the lumber prices won't be so high. People can't build right now. It's so expensive.
Everything.
Yeah.
And they can't get it even if they could afford it.
They're on their way down.
Are they, Bill?
Yep,
Oh, good. I want to build a
yep.
house.
They've dropped a lot already.
Good. That's good to hear.
Unless there's any other questions with that, I can move on to the next one.
Anything for Ryan on that? Okay, let's move on to the Wobig annexation.
So 9.8 acres at 45820 190th Avenue is now officially annexed into the city of Zebrota. So that's commonly known as the Wobig property up on 9th Street. So it's official. We received the orders from the administrative judge that the annexation is official. Current building projects that are being reviewed by the county will continue to be reviewed and inspected, thank you, by the county. Anything after this, anything new will have to go through the city. That means that any unsubmitted or new projects, since it's currently zoned R1, anything that's up there right now, unless it's a single family home, is non-conforming use. So to have anything new going on up there, he would need to plat the area, and then he would need to rezone it to a PUD commercial for the mixed use. And then we'd also need a developer's agreement for everything that he plans to have going on up there further. That would also require any public hearings and then community input as well. So if there's any other questions about that right now.
Dollar General.
So you will now the property owner, Mr. Steve Cheney, he got a tenant, a Family Dollar General. So it'll be a joint store, and they'll open up early January, probably around the 1st of January. It'll be the largest in this district, and it'll employ approximately 23 people. They're out looking for new hires right now. The Planning and Zoning Commission is reviewing a request to issue an interim use permit to allow all the other unoccupied space to be used for storage.
Was anything worked out or done at our last meeting? There was the request for the forgiveness of that 19,000, I believe it was, or whatever.
I believe the EDA said that not to allow that, but to allow other avenues to assist Mr. Cheney. And one of the other avenues is to allow whatever space he has, so that way, open it so that way he can rent it out. Okay. And right now he's been under a lot of pressure, or at least he's been pressuring us to allow it to open so that way he can rent it out for storage.
So that's the agreement, or that's the variance that we're going to give for the payment?
Yeah.
I mean, he's still going to have to pay it, is what we said that we wanted. I just wondered if anything had happened since last month, but it sounds like that's going to be the potential, I'm not sure I know what the word is, potential compromise?
Yes. In P&Z right now, we're looking at, well, they want a couple answers for him as to what other changes are they going to be. Is he planning on opening up another loading dock or changing any access points, especially along the foyer? And before that, they want to know that before they move further in issuing an interim use permit to allow that for storage.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Any other reports, comments for the good of the group? If not, I want to thank Mr. Eberhardt for all his years of contribution and help, and your knowledge and opinion are going to be greatly missed, and we hope that you'll keep in touch.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I'd like to make a quick comment here. You know, the first time I was on the council, we were a Star City, and it's developed into Star City EDA, and then it went to just the EDA. I look back and see all the stuff that we've accomplished, and it's fun to sit on this committee. It's a privilege to sit on this committee with people that are on it that are working hard all the time to do stuff. So I appreciate everybody's support over the years, and I wish the EDA well.
Thank you. We appreciate your help, and you just take a year off and you come back here.
Thanks, Bill.
Yep.
Thanks, Billy.
Okay, with that said, wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Now do I shut this off?